Hey, fish freaks. Welcome to episode number 108 of the Kayak Fishing Obsessed Podcast, your ultimate source for all things kayak fishing. And to get us started off, Seth, if you're looking for an insanely good under-the-radar baits from elite small batch bait makers, make sure you head over to darkhorsetackle.com where those true hidden gems are just waiting for you. Remember last week, Seth, I told you the next morning I was getting to go head out to Lake Michigan.
I remember that.
Remember the gobies that I was excited to use?
I remember the gobes.
Seven drum, one walleye, and a what was the other thing? Oh, smallmouth. And those gobies were absolutely slaying it. And so loved it. Now this came in from Bass Dope in that box recently. This is a pinhead compact jig, Blue Zen 5/16, which they're eating small baits right now. So I might be taking this up tomorrow morning because I had so much fun last week. I'm going to do it again. Did you specifically target those drum? Were you on a drum bite? No, I was on. Hey, where's the smallmouth at? Hey, what the crap? Why are all these drum hitting it? And I never caught a drum before. It's my first ever drum.
Oh yeah, they pull pretty hard.
They pull good, and then you see they're almost like bronze back. I'm like, oh, I got a giant smallie. And then you get them up and like, oh, this thing smells so bad. Yeah. And so I started like using lip grabbers because I didn't want the stink on me for the next. Anyways, that was fun. How you been, brother? You been doing good, all right?
Dude, it's been good, man. I got out fishing this week finally after about a month off. Little summer break. Caught a nice 7.5 pounder, which was nice. That.
I saw good. I saw that.
Yeah, just more practice this week. Next week we have the Florida State Championship coming up. First week is September, then Toledo Bend, end of September. So I got to get back in the swing of it.
Yeah. Well, I would imagine that you're excited about our guest tonight.
Yeah, I am actually very excited. I like these ones. Not that I don't like the other ones that are listening. I appreciate you guys too, but these are the technical ones I really like.
Heck yeah! So we're going to be talking to Bailey Eigbrett, Punchin, Froggin, summer bass tactics that absolutely crush. And so let's stop jabber-jawing and welcome Bailey to the show. How's it going, brother?
What's up, boys?
Hey. First off, welcome. Congrats on your big win on Lake Champlain. For those of you who don't know, can you give us a little quick backstory of who you are, how you got in this kayak bass fishing? And then right after that, if you forget, I'm going to ask you, walk us through that winning day. 100.25 inches on Champlain is not a small feat. So what was going through your mind as those bites started stacking up? But back up, all the way back. Fishing, why'd you turn on the camera? I love hearing everyone's story before we get to your latest win, and not your only Bassmaster win, if I'm correct.
First Bassmaster win, second national win. I got a Hobie BOS before.
That's what I was looking for. Yep, yeah. There it is.
When there was a Hobie BOS, RIP. But no, yeah. So I got started in kayak fishing when I was 13, I think.
Okay.
So what is that? 14 years ago. So my what happened was I've always been ate up with fishing. The whole cliche, dad, grandpa got me into bass fishing, but we weren't like my dad and my grandfather weren't like super avid. Like they were the go out for half the day, throw sluggos in random places and hope for the best. That's kind of how they were, and I love them for it. And they had me doing that until my dad sold the boat we had. And he realized that was a mistake because all I did was just beg him to take me fishing one way or another. And he had to figure out a means to do so. And the first kayak we ever owned was a inflatable tandem kayak.
Oh,
and that, we learned very fast. In the time, it kind of sucked, but looking back, we still talk about it to this day. We'll be sitting, down in their house in Florida and having some beers and laughing about the memories of popping that thing in the middle of the lake and having to swim back. And
single chamber. You're talking like Intex.
Like, I mean, dude, this thing was like the Ozark Trail, $40 at Walmart type inflatable.
Oh, it was like the ones that you both like sit in and spoon each other almost because it's so.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I was a 13-year-old kid. My dad was the motor of the kayak. He was just paddling, letting me, cast. And at the time was nice and grateful for dad. But that's a funny story on that one. Some guy, so we had a little like vacuum deal, obviously, to like inflate it.
Right.
And some guy had stole it when we're like out there fishing, we just see him playing with it on the bank and using it. We're like, hey, like we need that. He runs away from it.
Oh, you took it.
What the?
I always think like, hey, when I'm out in my boat, like anybody who wants, they could literally like just look at me and just start breaking into my truck because it's a good 15 minutes before I can get there, and they know it.
Hey, you guys, stop!
Yeah.
Please.
For real. But yeah, that was the start, and then I got ate up with it, and was fortunate to have really supportive parents. About especially the outdoor space, but just in general life, they support everything my brother and I wanted to do. And, my dad quickly realized that my addiction was more than he could handle, but he wanted to support it. And what that meant was he got me a Field and Stream shadow caster, my own first like kayak.
Oh, yeah.
It was like I don't know if anybody remembers those, but it was like a $700 or $800 kayak, but it was a sit on top and it was a barge to paddle. Like I think my shoulders were as big as then it was my entire life just from paddling that thing. But he got me that, and once I got my driver's license, well, actually, I take that back. Before I had my driver's license in the summer, he would drop me off the lake at like 6 a.m. before he had to sign on for work. So he'd drive down the lake 10 minutes, drop me off, go back, sign on for work, and he'd say, "Hey, all right, pick you up for dinner."
That's amazing.
So awesome.
That's like all of our dreams, like right now. Can we do that like right now? Seth's like, please.
Right. Have the wives drop us off and
go to work and then pick us up after work. Yes, that's amazing.
Perfect. And then just from there, man, it trickled in. I was at the lake every day I could, once I got my license, and now we're here trying to make a career out of this thing.
Heck yeah. You just went full time like last year, right?
Yeah, Jan 1 this year, completely full time, from the content aspect and the podcast with Serious Angler and all that stuff. So it's super fortunate. Now I'm just trying to bust my butt to make sure I can stay full time. That's it.
It is I know that grind, brother. I know that grind. It is very real, and it's always looking over your shoulder. But so so walk us through the win. And Seth, if you I'm trying to keep up with the questions over there, but Seth is probably going to have more questions for you around the Bassmaster because he fishes the Bassmaster, and he's more of the tournament angler on the show, much more so than I am. And so walk us through that.
You're the drum guy. Day. You're the drum guy, Daren.
Yeah, leave me alone. I'm the trash fish guy. Yeah, I'm just going to go sit in the corner. Seth, take over. I'll talk to you guys later.
That's funny.
So walk us through that day. Those how many days it was.
Champlain?
Yep.
Yeah. So tournament day specifically, the fish that I was around, I knew going into it, well, in the event in general, that smallmouth were going to win. Especially like, granted, in New York, you can't trust the weatherman, but looking at the extended forecast anyway, it looked like we were going to have decent weather. There was many times many of us were knocking on wood all week long, hoping that Mother Nature would hold out. And because if that was the case, it was going to be, you're going to need a giant bag, and it's probably going to have to be smallmouth. Because you can catch a big largemouth there for sure, but your average is just so much bigger with a smallmouth. So going into that, I tried to, me being stubborn, I just love largemouth fishing in general, but I wanted to have a backup plan of that, but I just knew that'd be wasting my time if I did. So I went and just smallmouth hunted all practice, and found one area. It was about a 300-yard stretch that when I stumbled upon them in practice, I saw a few of them come on my Mega Live 2, made a cast and caught a 21.5, and then my second cast was a 20. I said, okay,
got to get out of here.
I think we're good. So I kind of just looked around a little bit more, graphed a little bit more of the area, tried to understand it a little bit further in regards to how they're going to set up, try to get a gauge of like what's there, what's keeping them there. Because if you see a lot of the nomad smallmouth, you can look in the area to see what are the chances that they're going to stay there, at least for the next few days.
Sure.
If there's a lot of bait and the bait's not moving too fast, there's a good chance that those smallmouth will stay. If the bait's there and the bait's moving quickly and there's not a lot of, cover or structure on bottom or anything nearby to keep them there, you're basically flipping a coin if they're going to be there again. Thankfully, what I saw, and at least gave me some sort of hope, I mean, it's still scary when you're relying on a bite that's that fragile, was there was a lot of perch on bottom and a lot of alewives up top, and they weren't really moving too fast. And so smallmouth were literally cruising, going down to bottom, eating perch, coming up, eating alewives, coming down, eating perch. And so they had basically this giant buffet line that they can just constantly eat all day long. And I think that's why there were so many bigger smallmouth there. But tournament day, I didn't know how many were going to be there come tournament day. And I was one of 3 people, and helped that area. 2 other guys were from New York too. They were local guys.
Okay.
Nice little relaxed launch, not worry about it. But then going out to my first spot was one that was just on some shallow jerkbait fish. I'm like, let me just hit it on the way, just to start and get a couple bites, and then we'll go out once the more sun gets up and start chasing some of those nomad fish. And realized quick that one of the guys I launched with was going to the exact same spot as me. And he's like, I'm assuming we're going to that same point. And I'm like, that one right there? And he's like, yep. And I'm like, yeah, we're going
see his motor's faster.
Oh, he was faster than me, for sure. Yeah, he flew from behind me and got up, and he's a super respectful guy. And I'm like, you that one? He's like, yeah. I'm like, all right, yeah, we're definitely going the same one. I'm like, you have to, but you take it. And he's like, you sure? Yeah, I'm not into the whole racing thing. You can have it, man. It's all good. What be will be. And so I went to a different spot to start before I went out to those nomad fish, and it was one that was just loaded with 16 inchers, just to start getting the juices flowing for the day. And thought that there was no big ones on there, but my first I took 2 casts of the jerkbait, had a couple fish follow, threw a drop shot out, and caught a 20 at 6:03 in the morning to start the day. And so that was like,
all right, 6:03. You're 3 minutes. You're like 6 casts in at this time.
Yeah, I think it was the 3rd cast of the day.
Wow.
And I was very surprised. Like, when I set into it, I had some weight, and I thought, because there was a lot of drum in that area too, and I'm like, I don't know what this is, till it jumped, and then I was like, oh,
there we go.
All right, we're off to a good start. And so once I left that area with a 20, I'm like, this is a perfect bonus fish. Let's just go out, and didn't have to go too far. As soon as I got into that area, ran into 2 more 20s by 7 a.m. So I had 3 20s by 7 a.m.
60 at 7 a.m.
Yeah, I'm like, all right, well, we got 7 hours to go find 2 more of these things. So it was kind of set the ball rolling, caught a bunch of 18s, some 19s, threw back some 19s, and then
it's always great when you're throwing back 19s because they don't help. That's crazy.
It was a weird
not on day one. Day one, that's a little scary.
Yeah, it was. But here was the thing that, I love the strategy and the mindset game of this. And because I thought about that pretty heavy too, honestly. But we looked at Sunday, and there was already talk starting Friday morning of day 2 getting canceled that Sunday. Because it was 15 to 20 mile an hour winds coming out of the south. And for anybody that knows Lake Champlain, it's a monster. And so that was one for me, was like where I looked at the area that I was at, and I practiced. When I saw there was a hard south wind in practice, I forced myself to go out to that area just to at least see it, just to see, can I manage it? Like, even if it's half the day, can I manage to get out here? And I came right out of the launch where I was going to go out to that day, and I saw it out there at least on a 10 to 12, and I was like, hell no.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? There's a lot of money on the line, but not enough money for me to go do this. So I'm like, so my mindset was, dude, it's like one way or another. I'm like, we got to make it to Sunday to even have a shot. So I just was like, let's worry about Sunday when we have a good day Saturday. So I was like, one way or another, I'm burning this sucker to the ground, whether I like it or not. And we're going to figure it out Sunday. Because I had some shallow stuff. I had about a confident 95, 96-inch pattern going shallow for smallmouth with a jerkbait that I could hit Sunday. But it was like, I just knew in my head it was going to take 100 plus to win. At least I thought for sure for the whole event it was going to be 202 around there to win it for a 2-day event. I just halfway through that day, I had 90, it was 97, 98 by like 8:30 in the morning. And it was just like, I needed to go catch one more giant. Like, I told
anybody near you at this point, are you an angler that watches it, or you're just like, forget it, I'll see it at the end of the day, the tourney board?
So 2-day events, I watch it. 2-day events, I watch it. To exactly why Seth was asking about like scary calling out 19s on a 2-day event, just to see like what folks were putting up. One day events, I never look ever because I'm like, I have my game plan. My game plan is to win. And if there's no veering from that based on what somebody else is doing, I'm going to do me, and whatever happens, happens.
Yep.
But 2 days, I like to watch it just to compare. And when I saw it was like 98 inches, it was I think myself and Jake Angelis that were up there, which is scary when I saw all the Northeast boys that were up there at top of the leaderboard too, because I don't trust them worth a lick. They are so good, dude, but they also sandbag so hard. So I just knew, I'm like, all right, it is what it is. I'm just gonna go fish for the rest of the day. And it was like 10 a.m., 10:30. They announced that they canceled day 2. And I was like, well, it doesn't really matter. We're still burning this place to the ground. But I was like, I think 30 minutes later, I called up again to like 99.25. And I looked at my camera and I'm like, I've hit 99 in the tournament 3 times this year. I swear to God, if this happens again, time, I'm going to lose my mind. And so literally, as I say it, I think the timestamp was like 4 minutes later. I caught my 20.5 to get me at 100 inches at 11 a.m. And I was just more hyped just to finally break 100 in a tournament after hitting 99 like 7 times. So it was like, I was pretty pumped. And I was like, you know what? If somebody wins today, I'm like, more power to them. Like, and that's
it. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I did check a little bit. I shouldn't have. This was one that I'm a little disappointed. I mean, thankfully it worked out the way it did, but I was a little disappointed. I kept checking standings, even though I was happy with 100. But I kept seeing like Nick Audi and Ryan Knight slowly creeping up towards 99s, and I'm like, God. And I saw Ewing Minor. I mean, Ewing is always dangerous no matter where he goes, and so I saw him in the top 5, I think, at that point, and I was like, yeah, who's at 95? And I didn't trust that worth a lick.
They're nipping at your heels.
Yeah, I'm like, he's probably got some 22 incher. He's just waiting to submit and just teasing everybody. But no, man, it kept working. I kept putting back 19.25, and it felt really good to have that, that be the case. And was a day that I was so fortunate to get lucky and just make the right decisions between, the spot. Just happenstance to go to plan B to start and catch the 20 to start out with. And then 2 of my other 20s that I caught in the net, they jumped at the kayak, through the bait,
landed in the net.
So if I didn't have the net, I would have been screwed. And there was 3 tournaments this year locally that I forgot in my net. And so it was just one of those things.
3.
Luckily, yeah, dude, I'm terrible in the
I didn't even bring my net on Dale Hollow for smallmouth. And dude, I'm just like doing figure 8s around the kayak till they're tired enough because I can't scoop them. So I do figure 8s, and then eventually after like 3 minutes, I can reach down and put my finger in their mouth. And I didn't lose a single smallmouth.
Wow.
But yeah, I'm like, next time on a smallmouth fishery, I have to bring a net. Like, that was dumb. Like, largemouth, easier. Smallmouth, dude, nuts. And if you have them on a jerkbait or something, impossible on a kayak, for me at least.
So I feel more comfortable with like a jerkbait for whatever reason. Whether it's just boat flipping them or bellying them, I feel comfortable with that. But there's something, it's only with jig head minnows that, for whatever reason, when they get to the kayak, I still haven't quite figured it out just yet. But I don't know if you need a secondary hook set on some of these things. Like when you notice they're starting to skin hook it, because mine were kind of being weird, that for whatever reason, a bunch of them will come off at the boat. And that's like, even if it's like a drop shot, I'm perfectly fine just playing them out and then I'll belly them.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I got more freaking confidence in like a spy bait, a smallmouth, than I do with a jig head sometimes.
Yeah.
I think that's all within jig head, and I played around with a couple and got better hookup ratio towards the end of the day. But there was a couple that it was just like skin hooked and just not getting them right. Like I'd even net them, and then they come off in the net, and that's always scary when you see that happening consistently.
Oh yeah. At least they go in the net. It makes you feel better.
Yeah.
Outside of it.
There you go.
So let me ask you this, as far as in whatever detail you feel comfortable with, as far as your setup, not necessarily your rod, but more like your line, your jig head, your minnow, weighted jig, like what weight were you using? What was your setup, and how were you working things on your graph to get those fish to bite?
Yeah. So I started out, was throwing, both rods were actually 7.3 mediums. Where I was catching these fish, a lot of them were 70, 80 feet out from me. And so I just have a lot more confidence in a longer rod when setting that hook out there.
Yeah.
And I just don't know what it is. Some of the bigger minnows I like 7.3, but I even started using some of this like just the normal like mooch minnows. Mooch minnow was like I was throwing the whole day.
Okay.
I love that 7.3, but it was a 7.3 U-Call, their new Midnight series, and then it was 18-pound Sunline All Might to 8-pound Seaguar and VizX, and originally it was the mooch minnow on a 3/16 ounce owner range roller. And those were the ones that were coming off, was on that range roller. And I've had a lot of issues with a range roller. And after this tournament, I have range roller practice jig heads. That's what all they're for now, is because
so they get off.
Dude, I was filing them and everything, like trying to sharpen them more too, and it just wasn't working out. And once I switched though to, it was a another setup that I had with me. I switched for one, trying to get better hookup ratio, but two, a lot of my bigger fish were coming off bottom from being perch eaters versus up high chasing alewives. And so with that, I mean, I'm out in 50, 60 foot of water. I was throwing a 3/8 ounce. It was a Cypher jig head. The new brand, Cody Murray and Cody Meyer. They're the ones that are behind that jig head. That one is a hook I trust a lot more. And I was throwing it was a Dobbins Champion XP, the 733 SF. Just again, 7.3 medium. Wasn't All Might. It was actually 8-pound X braid to 8-pound Seaguar and VizX, and then that 3/8 ounce jig head with a mooch minnow. And those ones though, like they were through the forehead, they weren't coming off, which was a nice sight to see.
Yeah.
But what I noticed too was you could get all of them to follow. They were moving so fast, but if you didn't make them, like they would come up and try to eat, especially if they were in a pod of 2 or more. But the bigger ones were on their own. And if you worked it really fast, like the faster the better, and really make them chase, that's when they almost like a shark put the blinders on and they just eat whatever's in front of them. Because it's almost like you're not giving them time. It's like, to a reaction bite, right? I mean, you're not giving them the time to think. And that's how I at least started getting to trick them a little bit easier versus trying to just roll it in front of their heads like you usually do with some more largemouth stuff in the summer. But it was kind of a mix. You always got to play the conditions when you talk about the jig head minnow stuff. It's more play the attitude of the smallmouth that you're fishing. The next one you throw at's probably gonna have a whole different attitude. It's kind of almost like that. That's the way I kind of look at it. But
yeah, they're all different. They all have like their own personalities. I told Daren and I have talked about that before with largemouth, but anything on the graph, like they just all act different. Some want it faster. Some will look at it. Well, most will look at it, and if they get a good look, they'll just turn away. Some you just got to burn it in front of them. They chase, just kind of like bed fishing. They're all kind of a little different at times. But I do have another question too. So I was watching some of your video, and I saw how you blurred out your graph like flawlessly. How did you do that? How did you do that? I tried to do it on mine from Dale Hollow, and I can't post my video because everyone's going to know my location and what I'm doing. So I'm like, I can't post this. So it's just sitting in my drafts.
Part of me wanted to say screw it and just like let people who know the area find it. And even me blurring it, I was told the locals already just knew. I should have known. When you put out any videos, it is what it is. It's just going to happen. It's a double-edged sword. Apparently those fish are gone, so it must have been a timing thing. But you
have some people reach out to you and say, "Hey, I fished that after you," and nothing. Yeah.
I got buddies that live up on the lake and know it very, very, very well.
Sure. Right.
And they never reached out or asked me. They would reach out to congratulate, but they never asked me for the spots or anything like that. But they would call me and they're like, "Hey, I went to go check on those fish." They're not there anymore. Yeah, so it's kind of cool. But no, that I use Final Cut, and if you go into, it's not like where the dynamic transitions is. I'm trying to remember the button that's right next to it, but essentially it's like there's a blur option, and you grab it. Like I think it's like Gaussian is the type of blur, but you drag it over the feature. It's like an AI feature that will cover like, oh, you want it on this, so you drag it onto your graph, and you just edit like which sections, like if there's any, add or remove that you want of that blur. And then it analyzes it. AI analyzes it through that clip, and then it just blurs it out for you.
It was flawless. I'm like, man, because when you're moving and your arm goes in front and your body goes in front of it, mine was like choppy and it was just kind of showing everything. I'm like, I can't throw this out here. It's too juicy. I got to save it. And then I saw yours. I'm like, oh my gosh, Bailey figured it out.
Yeah. I thought about messing with some people and like sneaking a tiny meme in there. But
yeah. People that are watching it. Yeah. They're waiting for like a 1 second little clip screenshot. Get those coordinates. Yeah, dude, I feel you.
I knew people were going to do that. I mean, it is what it is.
Got some comments and questions for you from the audience here, Bailey. Yeah. Number one, Lumen Nathan says, hey, really enjoy the Lure Lab show that Serious Inkler does. So well done there. Jake Cook, Bailey's recent videos make me want to go frog fishing, which we're going to get to just a moment. A little segue. Nathan McPherson, Bailey's busy with podcasts this week. Congrats to see you getting a ton of attention after the big win. Congrats, brother. And then Squirrel Fishing got a question for you. Bailey, when you're watching the tournament board and you see an opponent creeping up on you, do you feel the pressure and the need to change your tactic or simply ignore or continue doing what you've been doing? Be honest.
For real, I don't check them that well. If it's a one-day event, like I was saying earlier, I never, ever check the standings.
Sure.
The one time I did was one of the very first kayak tournaments I did. It was like a 10-person tournament back in like 2015 in New York when our trail was super tiny. Yeah. And I checked it and I fished horrible the rest of the day. And it just threw my whole mind for a loop.
Throws you off 100%.
But yeah, so then that's why I never do it for one day, or just because it's like I already have my game plan. Nothing else is going to deter me from my game plan. And it shouldn't deter me by seeing the standings to change something up. Like I'm going to go through and I'm going to learn from what I do versus try to learn off of, oh, so-and-so's blasting them. I saw them here, whatever have you. It does no good for me to look at the standings. So I'm going to go run my game plan. And I'll make adjustments after the end of the day. Learn from it if I don't win. But like on day one, a 2-day event, I will look at it and look as like to Seth's earlier point early on in the show was, you don't want to go run through a bunch of quality fish. Like you need to catch what you're going to catch. Like a place like Champlain has so many good fish that you need to catch everything you can catch. But there's certain locations like my win at Eufaula where it's like, once I saw I was in the top 10 was like, okay, I'm just going to monitor this. I'm in like, it was like 3rd or 4th after day one. And I'm just like, I'm going to leave the area because I know there's a finite amount of fish in here and I can't blow through these things. So it all depends on where you're at, what location. I would say when I used to check them on 2-day events a couple of years ago, it would definitely like stress me out. Like,
right.
If I wasn't high up or if I am high up, I'm like, I need to keep catching them because I know people are going to keep calling. But I don't know, the more I fish them, dude, the more I just like.
I think it's smart. I've interviewed a lot of people, and I've never heard one story where someone's like, oh, you know what? I looked at the leaderboard and I saw this guy over here, so I went over there, and that's how I won it. Said nobody ever. Yeah. Right? No one wins that way. It just throws you off. And so if you're thinking about getting into the tournament, definitely heed some wisdom here. I think that's actually very wise. I'm going to switch gears on us. Now, we've been talking summer bass fishing, and since tonight's theme is around punching and frogging, I want to start there, but of course we don't have to end there. But how big of a role do these techniques play for you in the summer months, Bailey?
Like frogging and flipping?
Punching. Yeah. Flipping, punching. Yep.
I mean, if I'm going fun fishing in the summer, that's what I'm doing.
All right.
There's not going to be a single electronics on the boat besides my cameras, and we're bringing 3 sticks, and 2 of them are frogs, and one's a big punch weight.
That's your favorite way to fish then, fun-wise.
Fun-wise, if I had numero uno, it would probably be actually like a spring swim jig, like dirt shallow, but up in the reeds.
Okay.
You got some lakes that have some reeds that grow before the milfoil grows, and you can wake a swim jig pretty early, like when the water temps are low to mid 50s, and they shark like some of the most glorious eats when you wake a swim jig. That it's like, if I had to pick one, that's my most favorite one, but Punchin, Froggin, very, very close seconds. Yeah, I mean, those are 100%. I'll have a popping frog, I'll have a walking frog, and a punch weight, and that's just, I'm gonna go find the grassiest places around me and go have myself a time.
So walk us through peel back the layer of the onion a bit. So let's start with the punch rig. I've recently, if I want to have the most fun, I'm taking the punch rig because all the open water spots, and I recently was sharing this in a video. It's just like a conveyor belt in open water of a bass boat. And after that one's gone, another one comes up and hits that point. And then when that one's gone, I'm looking at it. Just literally watch it happen. It's just a conveyor belt of bass boats hitting the same spots. And here I am over here in the lily pads, no competition. And these bass haven't been touched or even seen a lure, maybe even in a couple days. Because it's not a technique a lot of people actually do compared to a lot of the open water fishing. It's really convenient to get to. And so I've been having a whole lot of fun with punching. And so walk us through what your punch rig looks like for you and what I'm trying to dial in. I'm new to it. I'm not going to act like I'm a pro. We're doing it for years. I've been doing it for a season. It's been a lot of fun. I think there's nothing like just ripping one out of the, lily pads with 6 feet of water under it. It's just, wow, it's a beautiful one that you're in there. And two, everyone's like, what the crap's that guy doing in there? There's no way he's catching anything. And then after you rip a few out, everyone starts getting closer and closer to the edge of the lily pads. How it usually happens. Then they're always like, how'd you get that? And then you tell them, they're like, I don't have that because no one fishes the punch rig. Yeah. So walk us through what your punch rig, the setup. I'd love to know the compact kind of soft plastic you have on there. I'm assuming it's a Snell knot when you tie it up. And if you can explain kind of the science behind that, how it kicks and all that jazz, just to kind of bring people up to speed.
Yeah, for sure. So my punching setup is pretty simple. I always use a 711 extra heavy. It's an Abu Garcia Fantasista X, which is what I've been using for the past 4 years now. Corrado K, 65-pound braid. That's always the punch setup is that. Line wise is a 65-pound braid, but weight.
Any particular braid that you're like that you love, or does it matter? It doesn't really matter with 65 pounds.
I usually use Seaguar Smackdown, okay. But been dabbling a little bit with like Cortland Silent Flip is a good one for punching. It's a little sneaky one, and then I got like some backup like Dura braid and stuff like that. But usually Seaguar Smackdown's the go-to. But the hook is always, on the really thick stuff, like heavy punching, it's always an Owner Jungle HD, like the heavy duty Owner Jungles. Love using the 3-aught mostly. Okay. I usually keep baits pretty simple punching, especially up north. I mean, our fish are already dumb as it is, so you don't need to like go too crazy like down in Florida where you might need to dabble it up a little bit or like a Gunnersville, something like that. But I just keep it simple. Always, for the most part, a Rapala Crush City cleanup craw is my bait of choice. Okay. Obviously, depending on the vegetation, goes from 3/4 ounce to 1.5 ounces. But yeah, Snell knot all the time, every single time. Snell knot for sure. I usually take a file to my punch rig too, or to my to my hook, just to try to sharpen it up with a little extra bit. And the nice part with a 711 extra heavy is you don't need to crack them. It's the one thing that's nice about that rod is it saved me so many times is the rod and that 65-pound braid will hook that fish for you for the most part. It's just a real sweep for the most part. And
that's a long one. I don't think I even own a rod that's 711.
Yeah, I mean, I don't buy into all the hype of kayak rods. I really don't. I think it's just a marketing ploy that some brands will use because I go the complete opposite. I'm a fan of the 7.6s and beyond. Especially when it comes to casting. So like I've punched that 711 sitting down, and honestly, I think it makes it easier personally because all you got to do is let the length of that rod and the weight do all the work. It's all pendulum, and so I don't know. It's saved me so many times having that longer rod, but that's the setup for it anyway. I keep it super simple, whether it's green pumpkin or black and blue cleanup craw. That's always what I'm throwing for the most part.
So question for you, since I'm kind of new to this and you've been doing it probably a lot longer than I have. So I have some lakes around here that everywhere you look, there's freaking lily pads, and grass, lily pads. So what makes one section, because I've noticed, they're all just here on this point and closer to deeper water. Okay, that makes sense. But then I'll go to another place that's in the lake, similarly set up. Okay, no juice, and I fished it the same way. Have you noticed any trends of where bass like to hold up in is it lily pads and 3 feet or how's that? Is there just anything you've noticed that's like, oh yeah, I've noticed this and I haven't really thought about that until you asked me the question.
Yeah, I mean, what I usually look for in the summer, I mean, it depends too if depending on the fishery, if there's going to be like, if it's shell, if there's any rock piles that might be below that vegetation that could be growing in. But for the most part, like what I go look for is one, healthy milfoil. That's milfoil and coontail is for the big thing for us in New York anyway. To find one that's healthy, because our state loves to spray them everywhere. I'm looking for ones that aren't brown and killed. So I'm looking for a healthy milfoil, coontail. The more diversity and different types of grass together matted up, the better.
Okay.
Is what I've found. But typically, anytime
the nastiest stuff, usually.
Yeah. I mean, look, like especially if you have 2+ feet of water under it too, you have enough room for them to really have a nice canopy that leaves them enough room to feel comfortable. I mean, because you kind of almost think about it. It's like when you're on the beach, what feels nice? Shade. But also, like, if you think about it, when you're in an elevator and the elevator is tiny, you get claustrophobic. They're kind of the same way, at least in my opinion, where it's like the deeper the water with the canopy, the more relaxed they're going to be. So that's like, if I see, matted, topped out grass in 3 to 5 foot of water, I'm drooling. And that's usually what we look for. And if you find that in New York, for the most part, if you don't catch a bass out of it, there's probably not bass in that lake. Mm-hmm. But that's why it's nice up here in the north for the most part. Is these fish are fairly textbook, I should say. They do read the book for the most part.
They do what they're supposed to do.
That's right. Whereas, like, man, I've been in Florida and it's like I launched and I'm like, everything looks good. Where the hell do I start?
Yeah, right.
And so it's it's definitely a little bit easier because we don't have as much of that grass up here. But the biggest thing I would just say is healthy grass. Milfoil, coontail. If you have mixed in with pads, that's great. But then 2 to that is the depth of the water, and I look for 2+.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go, folks. Never been punching
Usually
before.
If it's under 3 foot, I'll just throw the frog.
Okay.
Yeah.
You haven't been punching before, or trying to figure out, hey, frog or punching? This is a good place to start. All right, let's flip over. And it's funny. I was down in Tennessee, and Red was there, and we're having an argument whose bass was more dumb. It's like, your bass are dumb. It's like, no, up north, they're really. I was just up there. Bailey's catching this from blah blah blah. They're really stupid, and we're just going back and forth whose bass is more dumb. So he believes. Yeah, sure. They're more dumb up here. Yeah. I don't know. I will say though, like for folks who haven't been punching, that claim that the frog bite is the holy grail, which frog is so much fun. Don't get me wrong. If you haven't punched big weight into a mat and seen that whole mat shake. Oh yeah, just by the my gosh, yeah, the whole
while. Go do it because there is something about that, man, that just makes a grown man giggle watching that match.
I love it. We'll switch gears over to frogs. So you run 2 types of frogs. Break that down for us and kind of where and why and just the science behind what's going through your brain when you're like, reaching back for the frog.
Yeah, I guess, it really just depends. Majority of the time I'm throwing just a normal walking frog. But the popping, I feel like if they're missing the walking frog or if it's more open water, I typically like to go to the popping frog. I just feel like it. When I'm frog fishing, it's usually, for the most part, I'm trying to draw the most commotion as I can. And so, like, more open water, I think just the popping frog just accomplishes that. I think there's a little bit less of a good enough hookup ratio with a popping frog. But for the most part, it's same setups too. I'm throwing a 7.3 heavy. It's a broomstick. There is no such thing as tip on my frog rods. It's just heavy straight from one end to the other. Broomsticks, yeah, and give them the beans, man. 50-pound braid. I have a variety of frogs, a bunch of different modifications I do, but for the most part, it's just standard Spro Bronzeye is usually the go-to, and Killer Gill is the juice.
Do you really do you ever be like, hey, you reach into probably what you have 70 different frogs to choose from. You're like, I'm going to try this. No, just kidding. Going back to this one. Do you always go to the same one every single time?
For the most part, it's that Spro Bronzeye and Killer Gill. Like the later into
what do you even do with all the rest? That's what my problem is. I have this frog. I got like 30 of them. Like, well, I know which one I'm using every single time.
It's so I have way too much stuff. It's just and I'm really bad at, like, especially when it comes to tournament prep or even just fun fishing. For the most part, I'm slowly getting better on the fun fishing side, but like tournament fishing, I'm like, well, if I see this one lay down and I want to make 3 casts at it, I'm going to bring these 2 rods, and I just bring way too much stuff. I'm horrible with that. I'm so on the train of rather have it, and not need it than need it and not have it.
Needed it.
My tackle is, my wife tells me all the time I have way too much crap, but for the most part, it's always reaching for that Bronzeye. But we just had a tournament, local tournament, the week before Champlain that I won Froggin and Punchin, for the most part Froggin. And I had to break out some of the juicier stuff because it was a place that was kind of getting pounded. Later in the summer is the more you got to mix it up. But that's what I usually start, and I can get my temperature gauge of the fish that want to eat the frog just by just the normal Spro Bronzeye. And if they start missing it, being, not coming back for it again, if they blow up on it and miss it, that's when I'll start bringing out like that Spro Bronzeye that's got the blades in the back.
Okay.
And then rattles inside the frog, making some noise, weighting them. And it also depends, like if I'm fishing mat predominantly, like that, the Berkeley Swamp Lord is actually a really good frog for mats, just because it's naturally heavier and will sink into the mat a little bit deeper, which obviously allows that fish to pinpoint it a little bit better. But typically, if they're missing it, I'm going louder, and then working it slower.
All right. Which, by the way, I think the lure name Swamp Lord might be the best name for a frog I've ever heard. In fact, there should be a whole company called Swamp Lord, to be honest with you.
Solid.
Sounds like Keith Poche, if you ask me.
There you go. I like it. Yeah, right. That's his nickname, the Swamp Lord.
Mm-hmm.
You alluded to modifications on your frogs. When do you, and what are those?
Yeah, so it's like when they're really missing. Because like I was saying, it's like that Bronzeye. I start with just the normal frog, just a regular
out of the package.
Obviously, trim the legs every time, but if they start missing it and they're being weird to it, and I know there's fish there, or I know that they're good ones that are missing, and it's not just like small fish, that's when I start breaking out the modifications. And it's typically I go with, putting tungsten rattles inside, or excuse me, like the tungsten beads, glass beads inside the frog to make some noise.
Okay.
Or it's that Spro Bronzeye, they actually make it out of package. The ones that have little Colorado blades instead of tails. Those make a lot of commotion too. And I can't tell you, there's a little bit of juice, but like I put the rattles inside that one with the blades, especially if it's fish over mats that are missing it. And I will try to be as loud as I possibly can. Like when I cast it, I'm, instead of like just doing a normal roll cast, I'm like airmailing it, like moonballing it, so
you
that
want that thing to land and ripple.
Yeah, so it's like, it's here, boys. Like it's there's no question where that frog's at. And then I'm just doing like almost like hard pulls versus twitching it, because it's allowing everything to clack and move forward, and then it's making noises. It rolls back, and then I'm just like taking line slack and just smacking it, because all it's doing is just shaking everything. And it's just, when you're a fisher, you're looking up there, you're like, what in the world is going on? And then it kind of pisses them off a little bit extra. It seems to work sometimes.
No, it seems to work all the time.
Yeah, 30% of the time, every time.
30% of the time, every time.
100% of the time. Yeah. In your opinion, what separates an okay frog angler from someone who's deadly with it?
It would be okay to deadly.
You pointed the wrong person.
That black line right there.
Yeah, right. I think we're indifferent.
Oh, is that?
Yeah, over here. So what separates Seth from Bailey?
Yeah. I beg to differ. I don't think I'm amazing with the frog. I think I enjoy throwing the frog. No, I don't. I think what makes a really good frog angler is like, you throw somebody into a giant mat of grass, and to say there's 10 boats in it, 10 anglers in it, and that one person just comes in and just cleans house. Mm-hmm. Like a Jordan Lee is one of the greatest frog anglers, I feel like, in my mind. Somebody like him, you got obviously like the Dean Rojas is like one of the, the godfathers of the frog, but guys that can just put on a show, I guess, when people are around, like that can confidently go right behind somebody that's frogging down the bank and catch them behind somebody. I think it's understanding. Because I see a lot of people when they go throw the frog, they just cast and just work it constantly, and they just almost kind of like don't put any cadence, don't change anything up, and also don't look at the small little locations to hit a frog, because you can see this giant mat and be like, start just normal fan casting a frog around and be like, oh, they're not going to eat the frog. But it's little, like small, the size of maybe less than this table here by me are your windows to get a bite, where it might be 150 yard stretch of mats, but if there's only a 10 by 10 stretch and there's cheese on it, that's high percentage. And I think a great frog angler can see that, recognize that, or recognize, the small little stick up that might be just barely pushing up through that mat. That's somebody that realized I'm probably going to get a bite right there, or any sort of shade if that's on that mat too. That's usually a high percentage area. So I think it's recognizing what's high percentage amongst where, like, many people will just go down the bank if there's, topped out grass and just throw the frog and not really think twice about where they're throwing. It's somebody that can go down and make 10 less casts, but everything they cast at is high percentage. That makes a better frog angler.
Yeah. The beauty of throwing a frog over a mat is you can actually see the line. And so you're like, oh, I made perfect casts here, here. They're not here. What you're saying is not true. Maybe some more accuracy of your cast, or depending what's there, you got to read the mat, essentially. Not all mats are created equal.
Yeah, I mean, like on a mat like that, like especially up north, like you're gonna catch fish all over that mat. But like I feel like
because they're stupid up here. Yeah.
Yeah, I just think, and I think no, in the north, yes, I'll claim that. Yeah, we have stupid fish and we have stupid anglers, aka me. But it's like you can go to a mat, fan cast, catch a bunch of fish. I just think that angler that's the next level with a frog that'll process so much faster of the locations that they need to hit. Like they'll clean house much faster than the average angler will when it comes to like breaking down that mat, breaking down an area with a frog, if that makes sense.
No, it does make sense. I think it's great.
I noticed some of the Elite Series guys, like Scott Martin's one, down here in Florida, because I don't do a whole lot of topwater. I wouldn't say I'm an expert at that by any means, but how like precise and how slow they work some of their topwater lures in like small pockets. They get so many little twitches and like they're so patient with it, and it's impressive. Like I'm more of like a bulldozer with my topwater and less of like a precise little jerks to get like 12 twitches in like a small hole. Like it's impressive how slow and precise they are. Easy, Daren. I see you looking over here side-eye.
Filter.
12.
I don't want to hit the explicit button, so I gotta when I upload this thing.
It was a T, not a D. But anyway,
we all heard it.
the slow pace, the precise twitches that they make is pretty impressive. That's what
I'm actually learning something. That's what I love about the show. Freaking come on, and I'm learning things as we go, because I'm the bulldozer. Throw it in, look at the lines, great. If they don't hit, move on. Not realizing that maybe I need to slow down. Maybe I need to read what's a little different. And so, thank you, Bailey. You got a question from the audience over here. Hill, do you ever throw a follow-up bait after you miss the frog, or do you just make the same cast again with the frog, or do you use a different frog? I mean, probably not a whole lot of follow-up baits you could potentially use on mats, but there are some that come to mind. So what's going through your head?
So in that tournament, especially tournament scenario, like fun fishing wise, like outside of just a tournament, if they miss the frog, I'll throw the frog back in there. And if they don't eat it, then I just say screw them and I keep going. But it's like, especially if they make a blowhole through that mat, I always have a 1/2 ounce braided like punch setup to flip right back in there. As soon as they miss it, I don't even think twice. I just burn back. I don't throw the frog. I'll put the frog away, bring out that little Texas rig, flip in there, little creature bait, something that kind of makes a lot of noise coming down too. That's easy for them to pinpoint. If that doesn't work, I've had times where they don't eat that, put that back, bring the frog right back, and then just throw it right where they ate it or try to eat it, and I just kill it. I just leave it there. And there's been times where I wait 10 seconds and they come up and eat it.
10 seconds. Oh gosh,
Yeah.
it's so painful.
You can like knock your slack too, and the frog's just kind of like
Sure.
dancing. They'll come up and just steamroll it after that. But like, I don't know, it's all like it goes back to like the smallmouth stuff we were talking about earlier. These fish just have different attitudes, and it's fun to like just try something completely wacky and different. Where I've gone out frog fishing, they're not eating anything, and I've just like smacked my line like a jerk bait, made that frog just like skip on the water like something that looks noobish, and they just come unglued on that thing when you do that, making it look like the frog's trying to dance away. It's I don't know. I think frog fishing is like one of the many things where we can just make it look as natural as you can. Like Seth was talking about those slow draws. Like,
yeah,
how often do you see a frog bounce fast over top of
or burning across the water? No,
slow pull is like it's natural, especially when we're talking frog specifically. But like majority of the time too, they're not even eating the frog because they think it's the frog. They think it's a bluegill. But either way, I think it's just that slow pull keeps it one in the target, that strike zone a lot longer. But I feel like it also makes a lot more commotion.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
No, I hear you. QD got a comment. Man, I missed my PB today. 5 or 6 pounder and a 120 whopper plopper. Hook set it, it jumped, and it spit it out. You're gonna be thinking about that one for a while, QD. You're probably having dreams about it at night, waking you up, hot sweats. I get it. We've all been there.
Jeez, poor guy's already reeling, and you're like,
oh no, I'm gonna lay it on. Yeah, I've been there. That's what I do all night, just sit in my bed, just thinking of the ones that got away and what you could have done differently.
Finish him.
Cam's got a question for you. We're kind of switching gears here. You ever do the buzz toads? Freaking throw a toad on a buzz bait, and do you like that way of fishing?
Buzz bait for sure. I usually don't really throw like the horny toad stuff by themselves. I need to because I know it works. I've actually been dabbling a little bit with the uni toad, that new one, that little paddle tail on the toad that Zoom came out with. That one's pretty sick. But on a buzzbait for sure, like throwing a horny toad on that. I got a little, I call it my Lake X right by the house that is a kayak only place. And the whole thing is just overhanging trees. And so like once the water temps in the spring start getting up around the low 50s, I bring one rod, I bring a buzzbait, that's it. And I just go around and I just skip under all the low overhanging trees. And you can't even see them eat it. All you do is hear them eat it. It's a fun time. Yeah. It was
That's what's happening up here. Overhanging trees. All you gotta do is skip a Yamatanuki under it. It's almost guaranteed bass. They just lose their minds.
Even
Sea Hill.
So like the mayfly hatch, like that's a fun time too. The overhanging
mayflies get crazy. It's not crazy around here, but I know if you go up to like the Sandusky area and like Cedar Point area, mayflies. I mean, it's stupid. Like people get off the roller coasters and there's just like mayflies all over their face. It's pretty disgusting. What was I going to say? Oh, you did something. You caught a fish away. I've never seen a fish get caught before. And I'm looking for that setup. I was watching one of your videos because it flew into my feed. And you took a punch rig and there was no room to skip anything underneath. So you just threw it on top of the trees, down through it, and you pulled a bass out. I was like, bro, come on. I can't wait for that moment. I'll sit there for an hour until I catch a bass just like you did. Because I was like, bro, I would have just zoomed on by it and wouldn't even have thought of that. Yeah,
I love, it's almost what I kind of relate it to like being a kid. And then when I meet a kid like me last week, resisting the urge to throw rocks like off a cliff type of deal, like just that inner childhood, like can't not push the button that says do not touch.
You gotta try it. You gotta push it. You gotta do it.
Yeah, I'm like, if there's some water on it, I want to see if I can get my weight into there because it's just like especially fun fishing, man. I'm just gonna you gotta catch them first. Like you gotta put it where they live in order to catch them. Like it's just you gotta hook them first to worry about getting them out. So
then you figure
that out later.
Yeah, you gotta catch them first. But we have this one lake, the little reservoir that like super deep water, like has all these overhanging trees. Like that tree you saw me catch it on was 17 foot of water.
Okay. Wow.
That's why I did that. Yeah. Cause it's got the tree. You can't skip under it. There's no room to. So it's like, if I can't go under it, I'm going to go through it. And so
through it.
Punched through the tree. And we got on a cool bite doing that where it was like 8 overhanging trees in a row. We just punched into the tree and pull out a largemouth.
I love it.
I know that's a bite too, like down I know they do it like on Norman and Douglas, things like that. That's a pretty common. Because
What weight do you have on your punch rig? I'm curious.
So like that tree one, the one they sell there?
No, just what you're typically punch grass with.
Typically, I try to go as light as I possibly can to get through. But like typically 3/4 to an ounce.
Okay.
Pretty universal. I say an ounce though.
Okay.
What's your sequence once it gets through the mat?
Typically, when it goes in, let it hit bottom, pull up once, and then let it fall like half. Shake it like by the canopy a little bit, and then pull it out.
Move to the next. Yep.
Yeah, but if like they're eating it, like once too, like once they start, once you start getting an idea, once they start eating it, like especially if they eat it as soon as it hits the mat, and I get an idea that's all they're doing, like it is flipping, what goes down, nothing, okay, pull it out. Like there's no cadence after that. It's just let it go through the mat, no bite. All right, next one.
How much time are you giving each one? Let it fall. Like what's the timing on that? You were talking like real quick, or are you talking like over a period of 10 seconds?
Like if they're eating it as soon as it goes into the mat and I flip in there and they don't eat it, as soon as it hits the bottom, I'm like, they flip in there, hits bottom, nothing, okay, I'm pulling out.
Okay. So when you go up halfway and they're not eating,
yeah.
Do you let it how much time are you spending each hole before?
Like on that cadence, when I'm trying to get a feel for it, I'll flip into the mat, goes down, hits the bottom. As soon as it hits the bottom, I lift up, hit the canopy, go down about half, shake it a second.
Oh, you come up top of the canopy. All right.
I like to hit the canopy, yeah.
Do you ever get hits? Or do you ever find that they're right below the canopy? And so that's what you're doing, basically trying to get their attention up top.
If I find they're doing that, I'm like, I just go to the frog.
Yeah, because they're right there, ready to hit.
Yeah.
Makes sense. I like it. Luminathan says that's a big technique in Japan, dangling a frog from a branch. I did not know that.
Do you guys remember watching Bama Bass' YouTube channel like years ago when he would do that?
No.
I haven't seen that one.
Dude, you got to look up. Yeah. So if you don't know the channel, Bama Bass, he's one of the YouTube OGs, and he just always fished like I think he was always fishing his private lake, but either way, it was like all he had was giants in there. It was awesome because it's
right.
Top waters. But he had this one like pine tree in the middle of the lake where he would like just sit on it and cast into the tree on purpose, let the frog come down and dangle in the water, and the bass would just come up and mangle it. He did a whole video on it. It was freaking wicked. But that comment reminded me of it.
Oh, I love it. So you're where are you at in New York?
I'm in Buffalo is where I live now, but grew up in the Finger Lakes.
Hey, you're not that far away from me. I'm in Canton, Ohio. I mean, you're literally 2.5 hour drive from me.
Come on up, dude. Come up to the land of the dumb fish.
Seriously.
You're in the land of the no fish. I'm in the land of dumb fish.
Oh, we got fish down here. I'll come up and catch your dumb fish. Rudd keeps chirping in my ear. It's all you do is catch big fish up there, and I watch your videos, and it's true. So I need to catch those stupid fish. I'll be up there. We need to connect. We need to connect. So
come on down to South Florida. It's like 105 every day.
No,
it's cooking, baby.
I'll come down there and fish your pond where you catch all your giants and put them in there, Seth. I'll do that.
Oh, the pond in my backyard.
Yeah, the pond in your backyard that you stock with 10 pounders.
Yeah. They're tough to catch, man. Once you catch them, throw them in a 2.5 acre little lake, and it's just like plumb full of bluegill and everything.
They're not hungry.
They're hard to catch. Like I can't barely catch them. I gotta wait till they get on beds to catch them. They will not eat.
That's funny.
But I already caught them once, so
yeah, they're like, hey, I know that guy. I know that shadow.
And then I get comments. I film it and I get comments on Instagram. They're like, "Oh, you're catching them in your backyard on an HOA pond. Catch them in a real lake." I'm like, "Dude, I stocked it. Those are all the fish I put in there." Anyway,
yeah, I caught them already. Calm down, people.
You've got a comment back to you. Yeah, I did. Do you have a private pond stocked with big ones? No, you don't.
No. Calm down.
No, you're jealous.
So we're at 101. See, I told you that was going to go by fast. So if you haven't done so yet, please help me out. Hit that like button. Get some yardage after the show. But Bailey, you're not in Buffalo right now. You're actually down at a symposium. So share with everyone, if you don't mind, what the main focus of that symposium. And I know one of the subjects, I read your post today. Yeah. One of the topics I think you talked. Your first day was today, right? This morning. Yesterday. Oh, so you're in day 2. One of the topics was with angler demographics. What trends are you seeing? Who's getting into fishing? That's problematic. Kayak fishing specifically. Anti-fishing movement. not something anglers talk about a whole lot. What's your take on that? What's driving it? How should the fishing community respond? That's why I'm just curious about the promotion of conservation and what the symposium is about. So walk us through what in the world you're doing down there.
Yeah, I'm in San Antonio, Texas right now, and it's called the Black Bass Symposium. And it's actually basically, the long story short of it is it's the meeting of the minds, if you will, of all the nation's fisheries biologists and agencies, the state agencies. So it's majority of the states are their fish biologists, and they're like the people that a lot of you folks will see, and on at boat ramps and doing all the testing and data collecting and studies. They're here. And it's basically to talk about all these issues, and I shouldn't say issues, but topics, I should say, that are needing to be discussed. And I guess this is where people present a lot of the studies and things that they've found. And then tomorrow is actually a lot of breakout groups where we're going to go and discuss all those 8 different topics that you guys saw me post over at Serious Angler. They're breaking us out, and that's where it's going to be essentially come up with a consensus of what should be a research plan going forward on each of those topics. And so it's really cool. I feel very out of place because I'm just the idiot angler up in everyone's ears is a fisheries biologist with a doctorate degree in fish biology. And I'm like, I am way outgunned down here. Way too many big vocabulary words that I have to ask Siri what they mean. And, but nonetheless, we're doing a bunch of podcasts with some really cool fish biologists down here from all over the country. And it's only done every 25 years, which they're trying to change.
What
now.
What?
Yeah.
I'll be freaking not fishing anymore in 25 years. What in the world?
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's people here that they're like, this is my second one, and they're like 80 years old.
Yeah, because you only get 2. That's why.
So they're trying to change it. The goal is to try to change it to every 5 years. And I was like, guys, this needs to be in. I understand funds are tough right now for state agencies, but like this needs to be at the rate we're moving in the outdoors. Like we need to be every year. Like this needs to be a big thing for people to come together and start talking about topics, whether it's fishing, hunting, whatever. But it's a really cool event. I'm meeting a lot of really incredible people that have been doing studies out in the field every single day, like studying the various things from impacts of forward-facing sonar on fisheries to the decline in certain species and how that impacts the whole ecology of the space, to tournament displacement of like, does taking smallmouth from one end of the lake, taking them down to the complete other end and releasing them after a tournament, does that impact the fishery? Someone did a study on that, which actually was one that I found really fascinating. Trying to remember the gentleman's name. He's from the Idaho DNR, and there's a lake in Idaho where they had 16 smallmouth that were caught on the very north end of the lake, brought 40 miles down south and released at tournament location, put trackers on them. Yeah. Found that all 16 within 21 days had returned all the way back up. But not only that, they returned all the way back up within 7 days and came all the way back down to the tournament release site within 12 days.
Why'd they go back?
They came all the way back. Because the theory is that essentially what they did is by bringing them down there, because they just, how like sometimes your dog will get out, run away, but they just seem to know their way home. It's small. They kind of relate to that. Like smallmouth know where home is, and all you did is bring them down there was expanded their hunting range. And obviously this is like fisheries dependent. Like if you have a lot of very nomadic fish, in Idaho, it's a lot of deep fisheries, kokanee salmon eaters that all they do is stay on the move and just eat. Because salmon and trout, all they do is move. So obviously it's fisheries dependent, but like what they found was there was no displacement. All they did was expand these 16 fish's hunting grounds to the point where they were just swimming the entirety of the lake now, which is just, it was crazy to see. Whereas like, largemouth, they found, largemouth will stick around a launch ramp for 2 weeks.
Really?
So it's cool because it's, we try as anglers to make something by the book, where something like this with these fish as living organism it depends on the species, it depends on the fishery style, the time of year, and that's what I think is so cool about it is it's never going to be the same, and so it's pretty dang cool, man. Learning a lot here, but
so you're not into the discussions yet, the day 1, day 2.
Day 1, day 2 has all been presentations from different state agencies around the country, different private groups that have been running tests. Like there was one presentation from a gentleman from Maryland's Fish and Game that has evaluated all of the information from the anglers in the Bass Pro Tour and studying the effects of forward-facing sonar on size catch and catch rate.
Yeah.
And they found, which basically long and short, if you guys want the answers to it. So all the data is pulled. That's one thing that's cool with their format is location, size, all that stuff is, and with forward facing, not forward facing, even tracking down to the bait. They found there was 0 difference in size of catch between forward facing and non forward facing sonar periods, but there is a big difference in catch rate. So they're catching more fish, but they're not catching bigger fish. So that's what's super interesting.
What's the sample set on that? How many are we talking?
The full schedule of Bass Pro Tour events this year, and every single fish that was caught. All the anglers are logged into that notebook that they track, and they take the location of that fish because they submit that into their database throughout the event. So every single event, every single fish, whether it was caught in a forward-facing sonar period if forward-facing sonar was even turned on, and it was all the data. They do a really good job of that, and obviously that's Stephen Barden, who's the gentleman that invited me down, fisheries biologist, runs all that for MLF2 with the fisheries management division, accumulated that information. But that's just one of the studies that's going to come out. And I thought that was fascinating. And they have me sitting in the panel tomorrow which was question 7, which was the impacts of like talking about forward facing in the future. And so that's going to be an interesting conversation to be in tomorrow, because it's going to be roundtables, actually getting people together in groups of 10 to 15 of us and from different walks of the industry, and talk about the sonar and technology and the implications of it, if it's good, if it's bad. And what I love about this place, guys, is you're not going to get your social media banters, things like that. You're not going to have what I have loved so far is people have presented some of their findings, and some of these fisheries biologists are not afraid to challenge each other, but they don't challenge emotionally. They challenge based off their own findings and the data, and they have a mature, civilized conversation on it. And that's what's awesome about this. Yeah, who knew that?
No, I'm not used to that crap. You keep that to yourself, Bailey.
Yeah, I'm glad to be at an event with some adults here. So I'm looking forward to tomorrow's conversation, because it's actually going to be productive, not like just people, oh, you're the devil, you use that cheater box. But so it's going to be.
I'm guessing Randy wasn't there.
Not invited.
Randy Blockett.
No. I can tell you he'll never get an invitation to something like that. He's despised by his own state agency.
Is that right?
He apparently has been terrible for years, but what shocker.
Interesting. So out of all of your presentations that you've heard, now, of course, that one was interesting. Was there one that stood out as the most surprising to you?
There were some really good presentations on fish care, kind of challenging what has been this more tailored to the boat side of things. Because as anglers, obviously, kayak anglers anyway, we practice catch and release, which is obviously a very great practice, and love that about it. But for live well tournaments, there were some studies about like challenging icing fish, saying you should never do it. It's actually a bad practice, because especially with largemouth basses, anything like if they're in a live well, the temperature fluctuates too quickly over 2 degrees or below 2 degrees, that can kill them instantly. And especially releasing them, apparently it takes up to 9 hours for their body temperature to regulate. So it also depends on where you put them back. If that water temperature is higher or lower, it creates a whole thing. So they just kind of enforce some of the better practices of just keeping on recirculation of that surface temperature that's in those live wells. That's kind of a best practice. But there was a lot of the fish care stuff that I thought was really interesting, and especially talking about tournaments and seasonality and delayed mortality, because delayed mortality has been such a big conversation when it comes to tournament fishing and the implications of it. And for folks, delayed mortality, for a brief definition, is essentially you catch a fish, bring them to a tournament weigh-in. They're alive for the weigh-in, but when you put them back, they swim away. Just because they swim away does not mean they're still alive an hour or even a couple of days from now. It can take a couple of days and the fish will die.
Days because of the stress.
because of stress and other factors among that. But because what they'll do is there's been a lot of studies across multiple agencies statewide, and they will put trackers on fish that way, and then they'll let them go, and they'll go and just keep monitoring those fish, and they put all these data sets together of like, this fish still going, this fish dead, and they find it because they'll find the tracker and go locate that fish. And they found the biggest factor of it is water temperature. And so that reinforces the importance of why certain states, especially like smallmouth, but even like down in Florida, especially like no summer tournaments, like certain dates throughout the summer. Like I know Orange Lake, one of the Florida wildlife conservation officers was here, did a presentation on exactly that, like why there's, I think it was mid-June, some like end of August, something like that, there's no tournaments on Orange Lake in Florida because of live volume with certain temperatures. Delayed mortality is an average of 30+%, which is a massive number.
That is insane.
It is. So it's kind of reinforces, like, should we be having tournaments in the summertime? And obviously, the more north you go, it's obviously a little bit safer because the water temperatures in the summer are lower. But whether that's the answer or not, I'm glad I'm not a decision maker in any of this. But like, that's just the cool information that they're learning just from being out in the field and studying this stuff, not just being Larry Curly Schmo that's at the boat ramp just throwing out angler theory, which the majority of the time is wrong. They're taking that and they're giving it an ounce of credibility, but they're testing it. They're putting data behind it, science behind it, and that's what's I find fascinating here, and that's what we should be basing our decisions off is that. So it's cool to hear some of that stuff and showing how the major difference of like running a tournament in March is so much healthier and more productive. Like especially Texas, running so many tournaments. Obviously, Texas is a massive bass fishing state. In March, it's little to no delayed mortality there compared to like August, which 30+%. And then when you see that happen, it's just it's crazy to think about.
Yeah, I can't get it out of my head. It was like a year ago. I think it was Mikey Balls, maybe even on Gunner's Bill with the big bass splash, and he was sitting out there as a boat, and there was just like 5 and 6 pounders just floating around after that tournament. I was like, man, we've got to do something. So it actually makes me very happy that there's conversations taking place. I'm not incredibly happy it's every 25 years of taking place because that's incredibly ineffective. However, I think it's on a regular basis, and it looked like Illumination saying in the comments, Garmin Lawrence donates a lot of money to these studies. I'm sure there's a lot of state agency, state money, tax money. I'm assuming. No, none of it. What do we got? Who is it?
So I can tell you that the Garmin Lawrence are not involved in studies. No,
there you go.
With these agencies, it's an unbiased approach. I mean, are they going to say, "Hey, Garmin, they offered to pay us this amount of money to help with the study"? Are they going to take it? Yeah, but it's not going to impact their study.
No, 100%.
These are very unbiased individuals. When you learn to meet these people and who they are as human beings, you learn and you see the admiration and respect they have for the resource, whether that is the land, the fish, whatever it may be. It's incredible. It's very moving. And you can really just see the passion when they speak and just seeing them out in the field. These aren't people being bought. They're not going to be bought by a brand. So don't let that narrative go any farther than that, because it's not true. But like these studies are done by multiple states, multiple different agencies, not just private groups that are being bought to do these surveys. Like it's legitimate science that they're doing, and they're not making decisions off of it. They're just
running the tests.
Yeah, because you can't make a decision that quick. You have to take time to evaluate whether it's natural causes that are changing stuff or if it's angler pressure, so on and so forth. But
how many people are there?
200 or so, I think.
Okay, that's a lot of people from around the country.
I'm excited. Yeah, it's awesome.
So last question. We're at hour 16, but I got some really important questions. First one goes to Seth from Johnny Bennett. Seth, got any ducks left? Bailey, sorry.
You know how Bailey was talking about the temperature differences when you release the fish in the water? So we lost one more this week, and it was my fault.
You lost. You meant you killed the third one. We're down to 5, Johnny.
Yeah, we lost
so help Bailey. bring Bailey up to speed for us, Seth.
So a summer project for my kids, I have 3 little girls, is they're homeschooled too. So anyway, we're going to hatch some ducklings. So we had a bunch of eggs, hatched a bunch of ducks. They're 3 weeks old now today, but they go outside and swim all the time. But the one day I filled the pool up with cold water. Usually I fill it up with water, but then I let it sit in the sun for like 30 minutes so it warms up, because these guys are they're tiny and their body core temperatures get cold quick. So it's warm water they're swimming in. But the other day last week, I forgot to give them time for the water to warm up, put all the ducks in there, almost lost them all, and 2 died. And then this week I gave them cold drinking water. Actually, my daughter did, but we're not going to talk about that. It was my fault. But she gave them cold drinking water, and they drank it. They were just super excited about the water. Got in there, splashed around, drank it, and their core body temperature got too low, even though there's a heat lamp in the brooder, all that. So we lost 1 more, still got 5. So we're rocking with 5 right now. So that's where we're at.
Seth.
Oh man.
Seth has he can't go fishing because he's having so many ceremonies in his backyard.
Dude, they're so cool though. They're the coolest little animals, man. You put things in the bottom of the pool and they will swim down and get their food, come back up. They're the coolest little animals.
Do they have names?
They all look the same.
Yeah,
there's one that's way bigger than the other somehow, just a brute, but they all look the same. So no, my girls have names for them. I don't know what they are.
I love it.
I just got to get them big enough to get them out of the brooder and get them outside, because they are. It's
put
hard
them in your back pond. I'm sure those 8-pounders would love to see them somewhere.
That's where I thought the story was going. I thought you were saying
no. Dude, there's 9-pounders in my pond. I cannot throw them out there.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. It would take 10 minutes probably. They'd be done. The duck slayer. Yep.
You know what, Johnny? Thank you so much for bringing that up. I would have forgot about it.
I was hoping you would ask about them. Thanks, Johnny.
Yeah. Down to 5. There were 8.
One more comment I saw in there. Corporate.
Let's just move over that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I had to buy it, Michael. Thank you.
No, you
I
didn't.
had to purchase it from his store. He didn't give me the hat for free. Yeah.
All right. One last question for you, Bailey. I know you probably got to get up early in the morning. Where can people follow you, your fishing tournament journey? Because your YouTube name is different than your other handles. So help us out here.
Yeah. YouTube is Beat the Fish. I thought I was being super clever with my initials being BE. I capitalized the BE and Be the Fish. I thought that was clever, but I've been told I should change it to my name to make it easier to find me. But otherwise, every other social media that's out there, you can find me at just Bailey Eigbrett Fishing, or listen to the Serious Angler podcast wherever you get your podcast. And that's it, man.
Yeah, right on. I love it.
You going to Toledo Bend?
I'm not. No.
Good.
Steve Owens was trying to trick me and entice me to it, but no, I got a bunch of state championships here in New York.
Yeah, just tend to those. Don't worry about it. We'll be fine out there.
This is perfect. One less competitor.
The funds to go. We're gonna do the whole series schedule, I think, next year.
Cool.
Come on now. I love it. Well, Bailey, we're gonna have to get you back on. I would love to do a download with you after you get all this information. And do all your shows, and I think that'd be great because I love the science of it as well. I look forward to these studies coming out. So thanks for doing what you do. Thanks for posting what you post. It's fun to follow. And special thanks to the show partner, Dark Horse Tackle. If you guys haven't checked them out, they're catching fish for me. I love ripping through different baits. I just remember that wake bait a few weeks ago, Seth?
You remember? Yeah.
I rarely fish a wake bait, and I did a video 2 days ago. I got access to a private lake that used to be a beach 25 years ago, but haven't been fished. And I was like, how many different lures can I catch bass on? I got to 25 different lures in 5 hours.
Oh yeah.
It's come on. No, great. It is a private lake, and they essentially eat everything, but man, it was a lot of fun to rip through that. So that video is coming out this week. Getting up early tomorrow morning, heading to Lake Erie. Gonna put some gobius to work. Hopefully get some smallies. I wouldn't mind some drum. Walleye would be nice. So we'll keep you updated, and we'll just hope and pray for the 5 little ducks that still live, that Seth doesn't kill the rest of them. Bailey, have a great week. Appreciate y'all. Thanks for listening in. I'll see you next Tuesday night at 8:30 p.m. on the Kayak Fishing Obsessed Podcast. You guys have a good one.